when it comes to kissing, let's say, and this might be useful also.
I'm making notes. I'm making all these notes. You have no idea.
Most guys, when they go in for the kiss, they go, okay, you're straight in, tongue down the throat,
Right.
and you're going for it. So the most exciting kisses are where there's almost no touch. Okay? So if you were to come really close and not kiss, but just breathe on the other person's lips.
The imagination is enough. Yep. No, you're spot on. Just coming close enough, but not quiet.
Yeah.
That's where
Let them feel your breath on any part of you. Like, just do that. If you're that nervous, as a guy, get close enough. Let them feel your breath. That is so exciting. And the problem is that intimacy, excitement, arousal, attraction, seduction, तुम जो भी इस्तेमाल कर लो शब्द, the more exciting, to build up the anticipation, is the less the touch. To build up the anticipation. Okay, if you're kissing your partner, maybe just little tiny pecks on the lower lip. No tongue, no this thing, just tiny pecks. Or maybe just using your teeth to just tiny little pecks on the lower lip. That's it.
Right.
And come back.
Right.
Just far enough for them to feel your breath. That's it. There is so much power in the no touch.
Mm-hmm.
That is so much more exciting than the
Oh, yeah.
the grope grab.
100%. Like, with flirting, I often tell men, flirting is talking about sex without saying the word sex. And what that does is, like, it just slowly builds that anticipation, that builds tension that probably will lead to where you're trying to get to. And I feel like maybe that is why 50 Shades of Grey is such a thing for women. Because there is all this build-up to the point, as opposed to pornography, which is everything past the build-up. Hammer, bum, 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 bum. Right. So kissing and sort of, let's say, playing between mouths, it's this anticipation, coming close and breathing on her neck and maybe like biting her lips and sort of playing around
Or
that.
even just twirling a bit of the hair around the finger. Just literally less touch.
Once I start kissing and before I start penetration, which seems that what you seem to say is there should be a distance between those two things. The first point of imagination I have is there's oral sex in the middle. Maybe that is, I'm also too soon for that. Like, there's maybe a better sort of slower play for pleasure there. What else am I missing? What can I do in that build-up? What does the KAMASUTRA say about it before I just jump into penetration, come in 3 minutes and I'm done and dusted with?
So I think one of the nicest things that you can do is actually kiss your partner's body in different parts of the body. And I think that always makes for a really interesting progression. क्योंकि हम लोग क्या करते हैं, there's almost like an agenda.
Right.
हम इधर से शुरू करेंगे, फोरप्ले शुरू किया, अच्छा अब किसिंग हुई, अच्छा अब इधर 2 बारी इधर टच किया, इधर 2 बारी स्क्वीज किया, now I'm back and we're done.
Yeah.
So, again, we have this whole idea that in times gone by, every part of the body would be fragranced with a different perfume. And I love this idea that here it was something earthy, here it was something more innocent on the neck. The belly button, because it's a small space, it would have something heavy, so you draw somebody down. My favorite was the curve of the waist. You try kissing your partner down the curve of the waist, all the way down. It is incredibly exciting for both people because as you go down, your hands are free to touch each other, but you are actually being as intimate as you possibly can with some of the areas that are very, very sensitive for your partner's body. You have all of this at your
Disposal.
Which you should explore. I mean, it's silly to miss out on that because there is an incredible amount of pleasure to be had. Even if you are just to lie next to that person and with your finger just draw circles on their tummy around, very lightly, around the belly button. Whatever it is, at that point, if you're accompanying that with kissing them, it's about the intention. If your touch is supposed to be intimate, if you're actually putting time into enjoying that, it's not an agenda. Acha, I'm going to do 5 circles around that tummy, then you know what I mean? You don't
Mathematical
do that.
formalization. Yeah.
Acha, 5 bari kar liya, ab aage chalo. It is literally about what you say, I am just having so much fun doing this.
Right.
I think it's so important. The next thing is about, of course, oral sex. Not every woman is comfortable having somebody go down on her. It's actually quite nerve-wracking. So if you want to go down on your partner, she's not nervous about it. My advice is, again, don't start by having oral sex where you're kissing her internally.
Mm-hmm.
Start by kissing the area around the vulva, on the upper thighs, on the hips, on the lower stomach, just between the legs. Feel it, just smell it down there, whatever. It is so important to, like I said, approach it slightly more slowly. It's like as you get older, I've discovered, I love chocolate. When I was younger, I used to have 5-star.
Yeah.
Which was
Standard,
my favorite, right? Then you got to Kit Kat. Today, I only will have really, really high quality dark chocolate. It's got to be very dark, very rich, and very high quality. And 90%, 95%. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have learned that I have to eat it at room temperature. And I will put it into my mouth, and then I will let it melt in my mouth, and I will swirl it around. So I will only have this little tiny bit, whereas when I was younger, I would have had a huge, big fudge cake.
Right.
You learn to enjoy it. We call this sexual maturity. When you learn to enjoy what you are doing. And that means slowing it down and marinating it. It doesn't mean that eventually the way that you have sex, or every time you have to do this, wo nahi main keh rahi hu. I'm just saying that if you can learn how to understand how to build up pleasure, it increases your own pleasure as well. So, for oral sex, if your partner's not ready for it, and you are finally ready, and you want to go down on her, one of the things is that give her something to cover herself with, like a fuzzy or something slightly heavier. It makes it a bit more comfortable for her. I don't know why, but makes it more comfortable for women. Let her have something to hold on to. That helps. It's an incredible tool to use. But jo bhi hai, there are, like I said, the excitement is so much more than the genitalia.
Right.
Again, 2,000 years ago, people were taught how to have sex. Today, also, we really need to be taught. Most people go to porn. So in those days, women were taught how to do a particular position by how pieces of jewelry, different pieces of jewelry moved on their body. And I'll explain it to you. So my favorite example is always, because this is the first example I ever came across. So if the woman was going to be on top, now if you watch this in porn, when the woman is on top, you see her bounce, 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 bounce. We have approximately 22 to 24 G-spots inside the vagina. When you bounce, 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 you miss every single one of them. There is no excitement for the woman, but it is very good for the camera, which is why they show it on porn. So in times gone by, the woman was made to wear a girdle, mekla, with lots of ghungroos. And then you had to make sure that you don't let the ghungroos make a sound. Now you automatically learn कि कैसे move करना चाहिए. You're not now focusing कि how am I moving for my penetration. Your whole focus is कि
घुंघरू
नहीं बजे. And that grinding movement, and that slightly round and round, is the right movement for mutual pleasure for both. At the same time, she would wear long earrings, which was supposed to get to swing in an arc. Once you got to that point, when you get your head and your body to that point, it meant that you got the pace right.
Very interesting.
Okay? How were men taught? They were taught through understanding battle formations. Because they said that this would make more sense to a man. And they said that a guy who is really, really good in bed will be a better warrior. Because they said that your body is limited. There's only so much you can do with the body. But if you can go to that bed every night and do something slightly different to bring an element of surprise, that is a skill that you bring to the battlefield, where you're going into the battlefield, in those days, bow and arrow, sword, whatever. Your enemy knows exactly what you're going to do, but if you can bring one tiny little change that brings the element of surprise, gives you the
That's a
head.
strategic edge.
Yeah. So they put a lot of thought into lovemaking, because lovemaking, sex, intimacy, जो भी आप नाम दे दो इसको, is extremely important. It is so important for you. It is so important for your life, for your well-being, for your health, for the health of your relationship. It is so important.
Guys, if you're enjoying the clips that we are putting out on this channel, you can consume all our podcasts in small clips right here. We chunk them together and release them just for your convenience. Do not forget to press the subscribe button.